In this video, I will demonstrate how to set up the Tagsurance 3 system for a new job. With job, we mean a new production run of similar tags. A job can contain many lots. Lots are generally smaller amount of tags grouped in a smaller role, like this. Now I will move over to my job configuration. And to do the job configuration, I press the job configuration button. This opens this screen. And as you noticed, we start with the recipe. And hopefully you checked our last video where we made a recipe for this case. And let's see whether we can find it here. And yes, that was called demo recipe 2. So you select the recipe you want to use. Source data, that's only important if you're using encoding. Lot management. So this is how we can define how many tags are on one row. So let's say we have 1,000. We can define what results are we counting. Do we count all tags, bad and good tags, or do we only count the good tags? If you have more than one lane, would you count for each lane individually or across the lanes? And do you have your cut mark, which basically would mean that we would mark. We have the possibility to mark between the lots, so the operator can see exactly where he needs to splice. Trigger settings, I'm not going into details in this video in that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things we can do to make the triggering easier in case there's difficult material which makes it difficult to trigger. The standard one is edge. We can create all kinds of patterns if needed. So to make your triggering more stable, if we enter a pitch, we could also, for instance, trigger on when there's missing labels, we would still trigger, for instance. So there's a lot of, it's a very flexible system. Last but not least is an action trigger. We have not filled anything here. This has to do with the machine I/O I mentioned earlier, where we could, for instance, say that for lot management, if you reach your lot, we will stop the machine at a certain place on the line, or because of a certain yield, we would send a warning. So these things can be set up here. After that, maybe the job type. At the moment it's only standard, but you can add a job label. So in case you have a very specific type or name you want to use, again we call it the Voyantic demo. This will now be shown on your screen, but also in the file, which will be generated later with all the test data. So now we've set up the job configuration, and now we can actually start the job. And that will bring us to the next video. And the starting of the job is done over here. You want to learn more? You can book an online demo or training via contacting us over here. And in this tailored session, we are happy to dive into your specific use case.